Hello, everyone.
Oh, hello.
We're here. How is everyone this morning? Yes, we're in the... This is the new correct spot.
Yeah.
This is the new correct spot. Welcome to the Tuesday Super Show. How is everybody this morning? We already got you guys. No, we never put Phil in charge of tech.
No, Phil does not want to be in charge of tech either.
Phil in technology is an interesting thing. More than one phone has been broken in this store. More than one. Okay.
I love Phil.
I love Phil too.
But Phil is also like, he'll come up to me and be like, well, back in the days, he'd be like, I want to do a card opening stream. I'm like, Philip, that's a different setup. Give me like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
All right. Well, welcome to the Tuesday Super Show once again. For the latest in events and everything else that's going on, go ahead and go to gamers7pnw.com. Yes. And don't forget, we have trivia on Thursday. Okay, let's get a turnout this week, folks. Come hang out for trivia. We have draft tomorrow night. No, I don't know what we're drafting.
Poor Phil.
All right, we'll put that into the chat topics.
Yes.
That's fair. That's actually one I've seen a lot lately. We're going to talk about that in a little bit.
I love the phrasing, though.
I do love the phrasing. That's great. Thank you, Raman Megami. We really appreciate that. Again, welcome to the Super Show. Thursday, trivia. Wednesday, draft. Thursday is also Pioneer Night. Friday, we have Commander. And then Saturday is the RCQ. So come do the regional championship qualifier. You can win a ticket to DreamHack. Also, there's some really cool cards.
You're so close to DreamHack, I can't even tell you. Win, and then DreamHack.
Yeah, like win and you get to go.
Yeah.
Like, it's really neat. With that, we'll jump right into our first topics today. This one actually came from yesterday's chat requested topics, and it is Ubisoft is closing people's accounts. And as I was reading the stuff on this, I was like, actually, it's probably my account.
Probably mine too.
So yes, Ubisoft is sending out emails if your account has been inactive for a long time. They've actually said, hey, look, and this is specifically for PC purchases.
I'm gonna check. What did they say? Qualify what a quote long time is?
No. So I'll read from their statement. Inactive Ubisoft accounts with no PC purchases or active subscriptions tied to them may be closed in order to comply with data protection laws after long periods of inactivity. So it has something to do with GDPR data protection. Accounts tied to an active Ubisoft subscription or PC games that have been purchased from the Ubisoft store are not eligible for deletion. So if you've bought a full game through the Ubisoft app on your PC, they're not going to close you.
But hold on. But they're deleting your account?
Yes.
But you have to...
If you haven't bought any PC games.
Okay.
So let's say you had a Ubisoft account, and they've always had their Uplay service where you can do like, it's kind of like Game Pass.
Yeah.
Right? If you've had, or sometimes you bought it on like Steam or another platform or something like that, and you had to sign into Uplay to get the full feature set.
Yeah.
If you haven't signed into Uplay in a long time, or now it's just the Ubisoft app, they're going to shut your account down. So
if you're like hardcore free-to-play, whatever free-to-play they have, and you've never bought anything. They did have some
free-to-play stuff, yeah.
Then, sorry.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Again, my understanding is this has to do with data privacy laws.
Which, yeah.
And I know that it's confusing, and I think most of this story really lies on a PR thingy, right? Is that you make these decisions, you do this stuff, and these guys just announce it in the most
Bleh.
like
Dead fish way.
dead fish, stupid way that everybody's like, what? Right? And apparently the way that this came out was that people started getting emails, because Ubisoft is basically emailing you first.
Yeah.
They're sending you an email and going, hey, you have 30 days to log in. Just log in and hit this little button that says, don't cancel my account,
Yeah.
right? And if you do that, you're fine.
Okay.
But the problem was they didn't announce it first. They didn't do anything smart about it. They didn't say why.
So
they
it
just
looks
kind of
like
did it.
Looks like a spam email, probably, or a phishing email.
And actually, in their statement on the Ubisoft website, it says, by the way, it might have gone to your spam folder. Check your spam folder.
And I have not read the Twitter post or the social media post. I would also suspect maybe it came off as like, if you have an old account, it's gone. We're going to be removing it. Thank you, bye. With not much context.
Yes.
That's generally how these things go, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, but...
And the other thing, too, is for their databases and stuff like that, like, this is almost one where, again, I think everybody wants to get mad at Ubisoft for this. I'm actually kind of on their side.
No, I am too. If you've... I don't know, like, the situation where if you're an active player and you play whatever free-to-play they have, you haven't bought anything,
Yeah.
fine, but like that would mean that you're on the app to press the button like, don't delete my account.
Yes.
And is it only a certain period of inactivity? So if you only played free-to-play and then for 5 years you didn't do anything...
And again, they're not being very clear on how long that is, that you have to be inactive before you get this thingy. Again, it's been a long time since I signed into Ubisoft, because I think the last thing I bought from them was Watch Dogs Legion.
Okay.
Which I actually really loved.
Yeah.
Um,
I bought Far Cry 5 in 2018, and then I bought The Division.
Which
2?
Far Cry 5 disappointed me so bad.
We bought The Division 2 to play because it was on sale for like $3, and Taylor had login issues to the point where Ubisoft was like, can you send a photo of your driver's license? And she was like, no, I'm not going to send you that. So they were on thin ice with her already, but nah. Interesting. I mean, I get it. Data privacy is a big deal, and you don't want that just hanging out, and it can inflate a database significantly.
Oh, yeah.
Databases aren't super cheap to just keep up and going. Like, that's money. But, yeah. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to press the button, I guess.
Yeah, I'm going to go in and press a button. And again, it may not affect me now that I'm rereading it, because, again, I've actually made PC purchases, I believe, from Ubisoft, because I think I bought Legion, and I think I bought... What else did I buy on there?
You probably bought Assassin's Creed.
I probably bought Watch Dogs 2 on there as well.
Yeah.
Okay, which in my opinion was the best one. Watch Dogs 2 was phenomenal.
They figured out some of the...
Again, much like Assassin's Creed, like everybody had the same kind of complaint about Assassin's Creed that they had about Watch Dogs 1, right? The original AC and this, is that both AC1 and Watch Dogs kind of felt like overblown tech demos. Like Ubisoft proving to themselves that they could do what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
Right? And it wasn't until they got later in the franchise, like, everybody fell in love with Assassin's Creed at AC2 when they brought in Ezio and, like, the story really expanded. And the Ezio trilogy, like, I mean, chat's in here, like, yeah, Watch Dogs 2 was great. Watch Dogs 2 was super good. Watch Dogs 1 had also some controversy over the stuff they did at E3.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, we have a video about that.
Yeah, so go back and look at the YouTube channel if you want to know. We talked about that a while ago.
I actually, ever the contrarian, fell in love with Assassin's Creed at the first game.
I did too.
I watched my roommate play it.
Yeah.
And I was like, just the simple fact that you could walk through a crowd and just slink through instead of knocking them over. I was like, oh, look at us, technology. I
definitely understood the critique of it started to get a little repetitive. About 60% of the way through the game, where it was just kind of the same series of events over and over and over again that just kind of pushed the story forward, but you were doing the same gameplay.
Yeah.
So I understood that. Yeah, I really did love the AC series. I like Watch Dogs too. Somebody in the chat was like, Watch Dogs Legion, the recruiting gimmick got old fast. I enjoyed it, but the problem was is that once you got your team set, you were pretty much done. Right?
Okay.
Because the neat thing about Legion was you started as your character, but literally everybody in the world, every NPC could be recruited, and you could make them playable.
So they all have like stats and stuff, I'm guessing? I always like that.
Right. And you could have a team of, if memory serves, of up to 9.
Wow. Whoa, variety. Okay.
Right.
All right.
One of the funniest playthroughs I saw was the Angry Joe show. They did the Golden Girls playthrough of Watch Dogs Legion, and they were all elderly women.
I love Angry Joe. Oh my gosh.
That was a very funny playthrough. And again, you could totally do it if you were like, my team will consist of nothing but elderly cat ladies. You could absolutely beat the game that way.
Question for you that, like, I guess we're past this clip. So there's Watch Dogs 1, Watch Dogs 2, and then it's Watch Dogs Legion. Is that supposed to be 3, or is it kind of like the Assassin's Creed?
It's 3.
Okay, I didn't know if it was an in-between. I was like, that's a
no,
long in-between.
it's because each one of them takes place in a different place. They all have the same like running storyline, and the funny thing is they're actually in the same world as Assassin's Creed. Right.
Oh, so there's an Animus and everything?
It's the same world. Like Abstergo is referenced multiple times in both Watch Dogs 1 and Watch Dogs 2.
Yo.
Right. It's Easter eggy stuff.
Yeah.
Right. But it's there.
That's pretty cool.
Right.
Well,
it was neat.
Give us Watch Dogs 4. Come on. Let's go, Ubisoft.
It's Ubisoft. Who knows what they're doing?
Who knows? It's a long development cycle.
Yeah. Again, I thought they were a solid, very...
I need to play them.
Clean series.
Wow.
Yeah. So, anyway, I wouldn't worry too much about the Ubisoft accounts. I think you're going to be okay. Just go in and check your email.
Yeah, check your email. Press the button. I don't know. If you like your screen name on Ubisoft, Uplay, Uconnect, whatever it's called now.
Oh, God. They keep changing the names,
log in.
too.
That's
it's terrible.
Thing. Yeah,
it's terrible.
They keep changing it. Similar to, changing Twitter to X.
All right. So, before we jump into our next topic, if you have any, and some people have already dropped.
We had one up top, up higher, too.
What did I miss? Actual viewer question. Do you think there's become more? We've talked about that a lot. I'll see if I can hit that one.
I mean,
later.
I can, at this point, I can give a fairly concise answer because we've talked about it.
All right, yeah, let's do that really quick. Do we think Microsoft Game Pass is becoming more and more of a reason to buy an Xbox than any individual game on the console? Bought Game Pass, and me and my siblings have played it so much to the point where I'm actually considering buying a Series X to run new games. Pete?
Yes. I would say yes. I've bought a couple of games on the Microsoft Store, namely like Final Fantasy IX that I want to have on PC and on my Xbox so I can just plop down and continue my save. I got an Xbox Series S, and I pretty much only play Game Pass games on it. As far as a Series X, there are some games that if I had a TV that it does 4K, but if it did 120 hertz, I'd probably consider getting the X. Also the disk drive, that's a thing too. But I think that for the price of the console, the Series S is fantastic. It updates itself, not expensive, and it just goes. Like that's my biggest thing. Is it's kind of like it's almost like a tablet level of functionality and go.
Yeah.
And it's great. I think it's. What about you?
I will say for the Game Pass Premium, I've said this a couple times. I have it primarily for my PC. That's my primary use for it.
Yep.
I use it, and really the way that I cost justify it in my head is how much would this game have cost me to buy, right? There's a lot of games that I've gotten to just try, right? Like just try, right?
Yeah.
Far Cry 5.
Yeah.
What was that fighting game with all the DC characters?
Injustice.
Injustice. Far Cry 5. Injustice. I played Ghost Recon. I played there's a bunch of stuff I've played on there that I've always wanted to play, but never kind of could pull the trigger on buying, right? And so I really, I like it for that a lot. And then for me, again, cost justification, Starfield's a day one release on Game Pass for PC.
Now, not on the core. I did find that out yesterday. Game Pass Core. Don't get Game Pass Core.
Yeah, which is what, go back and watch our YouTube channel. We did a whole topic about how Xbox Live Gold is changing to Game Pass Core if you want the absolute bare minimum like thing. I don't think that's a good value, but I think the Game Pass Ultimate is absolutely worth the money.
Even still, I looked it up. There's 4 tiers now. There's Core, and then there's the regular Game Pass that you have now. It's $1 more for access to the library, game streaming, and online play and day
no
one.
disc is the S, Dog Dad. And yes, Dog Dad, I did get your question there. It's in the it's in our rundown.
And talking about the Series S, if you're okay with 60 frames a second, the game streaming for Game Pass is fantastic. You don't have to use up hard drive
Another
space.
thing I've used it for.
If you don't have data caps on your internet. That being said, also, Taylor and I have found so many indie games. I was just telling Alex, I played a game yesterday that she finished called Bookwalker that I never would have found on my own. And it's great. I haven't beaten it yet, but it's great. And I never would have played it or found it had it not been for Game Pass. So,
yeah.
Great.
So there you go. Yeah, we absolutely love it. If you want a more in-depth kind of look on that, we did the Game Pass Core topic when they announced that, and we talk a lot about Game Pass, so go check out the YouTube channel. And while you're there, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us here on Twitch. Follow us in all the places so we can beat the dirty algorithms.
Yes. Exclamation point YT or exclamation point YouTube in the chat.
Yes. So go check it out there, and you can actually just subscribe to us and watch all of our stuff. And occasionally there's some YouTube exclusive stuff that we didn't do as part of Twitch. We just did them as YouTube videos.
Also, speaking of the YouTube exclusive, if you are going to try to join the RCQ or you're more curious about competitive Magic, Magic Taylor last week recorded a video that I just edited and put up at the end of last week explaining how judges look for stuff. And I gotta say, competitive Magic seemed before really intimidating.
It's not.
And editing his video and watching it through, I was like, oh, this is not bad at all. Not bad at all.
All right. Moving on to our next topic today, and this is one I saw on another channel. I really want to talk about it. We've talked about it a little bit, and so I kind of want to go through it a little bit. Hang on, I'm going to find my thing.
If I buy a new game and I have to delete something else, is that an issue with Game Pass?
No. Nope.
The game streaming keeps your save file, and when you install the game, it continues with your save file. It's fucking crazy, dude. It's really crazy.
All right, so when the era of streaming first kind of started for us, right, everybody's big thingy that they were really, really happy about was like, oh, good, I can get rid of cable, and it's going to be cheaper, because cable was getting crazy expensive, like super duper expensive. And you had largely a lot of stuff that you never watched, channels that you never scrolled to, channels that you did nothing with, that all came as part of the bundle because of the way that cable contracts are structured. So we all get in there, we're like, yay, streaming! And now there's 19 streaming services, right?
Yes.
I mean, let's bang out just like the big ones, right? So you have Max, Prime Video, Paramount Plus, Disney Plus, Netflix, Apple TV, Hulu, Peacock, ESPN Plus, and Discovery Plus are like the biggest ones.
The big ones.
Okay? Now, if you were to go buy all of those at the top tier, right? Because now most of them have gone into this tier system. You're well over the cost of what your cable used to be.
First
well
off,
over.
What kind of job do you have where you're like, sure? What kind of time do you have where you're like, yes?
I need all of them. So a lot of the question has really come down for how much, and they've been jacking prices lately. Netflix just had a major tier shift to how they're doing everything.
Netflix, Max, Disney Plus, Peacock, all within the last couple months. Raise the prices.
Right. Now, a lot of them have kind of come back and gone, okay, we're going to do a cheaper but ad-supported tier, so if you're willing to watch ads, so Netflix's ad-supported tier is $6.99. Disney's is, I think, $7.99. Peacock has a $5.99.
Sir, yeah, no. What if you were able to pay a large fee and get all those as a bundle?
And some of those are already doing it. So Disney, when they first rolled out Disney Plus, and I signed up for this version on the inaugural set, right? It was Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Discovery Plus, right?
For like $12.
For like $12.99. And I was like, all right,
duh.
like it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a lot of FOMO involved, especially with these big cultural shows. Right?
Yeah. So, there's a million things going through my head right now.
Let's start with this. Which streaming services do you currently subscribe to?
Okay. Asterisk, I still have a student discount. So I have more than I normally would.
Okay, but what do you have right now?
I have Netflix,
Let's go for it.
Hulu. Hold on.
Peacock.
I have Prime, but I have Discovery through Prime.
Okay.
I also have an AEW thing on fight.tv.
Right, and we're just talking about the big ones.
Yeah.
You can have Tubi, you can have all kinds of Crunchyroll.
So I have, what was that, 4?
4 or 5.
4 or 5, and that's me paring it down. But also remember, I get student discount, right? So I have Hulu for $3 a month. I have Peacock. I bought it for a year for $1 a month. The Discovery through Amazon is $3 a month. Taylor pays for the Netflix. And then what was the other one I said?
AEW.
Yeah, that one's just like that's its own thing.
That's a thing. All right.
Yeah, and if I did that without as soon as those student discounts run out, I'm out.
You're paring it back.
Peacock for me is $1 a month, and around holiday time, that promotion's gonna run out. And if it's not $1 a month still, I'm gonna dip out. I'm not paying $7 a month or more to watch ads.
But you like the Peacock because all the wrestling's on Peacock.
I specifically got it to watch old wrestling. I was like, yeah, $1 a month. But I've kind of gone through all of it.
Okay.
But also, so there's no wrestling pay-per-views anymore.
Right.
It's all through Peacock. So instead of paying $60 a month for the big event, you pay for Peacock and you just watch ads for $5 a month for normal people. For $1, I get to watch what used to be $60 a month. But as soon as that's out, I'm out.
Yeah. Okay. So we obviously have Prime in the house, and so Prime Video comes with Prime.
Yep.
I pay for Paramount Plus, Disney Plus, Netflix, and then I've got the Disney, Hulu, ESPN bundle.
Yep.
Right. So that's what, 7 basically.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We have Max, but I don't pay for it. I don't pay for Max, but I have Max.
Yeah.
Right. Apple TV Plus I paid for a minute.
Yep.
Because there was a couple of shows I was watching, and I let that one lapse because I got sick of most of them.
I think that's the case with a lot of these services too. Is they'll have 1 or 2 great shows, and then it dries up, and you're like, well,
yeah. So I mean, again, a lot of people are going, well, it's getting so expensive to stream now, but here's the contention I said on another channel, and I actually think I agree with. Individual streaming services still aren't that expensive.
Individually, no.
Right? It's really once you start stacking them in a row, that it starts to get bonkers.
And we're talking about the big ones, not like Dropout, Ishnatal. Like you like their content and you want to specifically support College Humor, so you give them your money because you know they're getting it.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm not opposed to doing that.
I'm not either. Now you also pay for YouTube.
I pay for YouTube Premium. Now Sean pays for YouTube TV.
Yes.
Which is like $65.
Mm-hmm. And you get a lot of stuff through YouTube.
There's a lot with the DVR, and he can watch wrestling and live sports. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty good deal if you like live sports.
Yeah.
I don't know if that includes YouTube Premium. I don't know if he still has to watch ads on YouTube.
I'd be curious to know that because I don't know that either.
Because if there's no YouTube ads, that's a big deal.
Again, I'm kind of on the side of none of these are really that expensive, right? You know what I think? You know what I think would be great? What I think it should bring back culturally? Let's start having watch parties again, right? And so what I'm talking about is like starting around season. Like we got into Game of Thrones later, me and Jess. Starting around season 3, I think.
Yep.
Right, was when we got into Game of Thrones. But our friends at the time, this was before Jordan was born, they would have watch parties every Sunday at their place. And so we would all go to their place and watch Game of Thrones together, right? So we didn't all have to have the subscription to HBO. And then after Jordan was born, we kind of moved it to our place where everybody would come over for dinner, right? We'd put Jordan to bed, and we'd all watch Game of Thrones together, right?
Yes.
So this is how you save money. This is our tip of the day. This is how you save money on streaming stuff, especially when you're wanting to watch the big cultural stuff. Like if you're wanting to do Stranger Things or Game of Thrones or any of those, let's bring back watch parties. Right?
Yeah. I mean, that you also get to discuss it with the people there instead of like, talking to this person about it, then talking to this person about it, and it's cool.
Somebody said watch parties in the store are going to be a thing now. We can't.
No, that's been a question since day one.
So, I'll actually break this down for you and why we can't do watch parties for most streaming services at the store. Disney Plus does not have a commercial ad tier. Or they don't have a commercial tier. Netflix does not have a commercial license. Prime Video does not have a commercial license, right, that I'm aware of. Paramount Plus does not have a commercial license. None of those have commercial licenses.
Yep.
So the way that you have to do this for television specifically, and we looked into it because Comcast is our cable provider, our internet provider. Right? So when we first opened the store, I know that commercial licenses are a thing, right? This is how bars do football, right? Specifically, and for football, it's specifically Thursday night and Monday night, right? Because those are on premium networks.
Yeah.
The NFL has a commercial tier, right? Where they go, look, it's $400 a season, right? For the full season.
That's not bad.
Right? But that's the licensing fee you're going to pay us to have the luxury of playing it in your bar, right? Comcast has an anime network, and I specifically asked Comcast. I said, hey, I want a commercial license for television for the store, right? Is the anime network included? Now, what Comcast will tell you is there are certain channels that are included in commercial licensing, right? Okay. HBO, for example, which is how you got Game of Thrones watch parties.
Yeah.
Right? Now, granted, most people don't care about commercial licensing for HBO because a lot of it's not appropriate for children. Okay? But putting that aside, for that stuff, you can get a commercial license. It's an extra fee on your cable package every month.
That's a good question. We'll answer that one.
Right? And so those exist. The anime network for Comcast does not offer a commercial license, right? It's not included in the commercial tier, which will bring us to the question from the chat. What about Crunchyroll commercial? Does it exist? Nope. So much like the anime network, our understanding, and Andrew has been in negotiations with Crunchyroll for more than a year now, right? Like actively trying to get them to do this.
It's been a thing.
It's been a thing. Because of the differences in Japanese IP law and things like that, they do not want to include commercial licensing in their stuff. They've been gradually kind of like easing into the idea of offering literally, and this would not be a broad-based commercial tier. This would be a Two Gamers Heaven commercial tier, right? They have been gradually kind of easing toward that the last few years. Thus far, though, Crunchyroll has said no.
If I may, when we first opened up, what I gathered was in some way, I think it was via a fine, because this was a question very early on, that you'd be looking at something like $3,000 per series of anime to have it here. I don't know if that's licensing, but I think it's in a fine. And $3,000's a lot, but we don't want it to be as a fine because that doesn't look good, and it gets you on a company's radar, and that kind of deteriorates relationships down the road, and so people were like, "Can we watch anime?" I'm like, if 30 of you show up and want to pay $100, maybe, probably not.
What if you rented the room at Gamers Heaven and invited friends to watch? So here's the thing. There's distinct differences, right? And if you recall, go back to your old VHS and DVD days, ladies and gentlemen, right? Where you would pop your DVD or your VHS in and it would say, this is licensed for personal home use only, right? It is not for commercial stuff. So here's the difference. There is one type of license that we can get, and actually the South Florida store did get it, and good thing they did, because when they did the Lord of the Rings Magic release, like, we're going to do a watch party, right? And I was like, did you get it licensed?
Hey.
Right? And they were like, no. And I was like, okay. So there is one license you can apply for through one agency that if you are not charging admission, right, it gives you a database of films that you are allowed to show, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay? If you are not charging admission, and it's not that expensive in the grand scheme of things, right?
Yep.
It's about $2,000 a year, right? But at that point, you can't charge admission. Now, that's just for movies, right? Yeah. Again, none of these exist for anime. Okay. So if I'm not charging admission, that's one thing, right? Then there's the next thing, which is if Necrontier rents out the room and closes the doors, and it is a private event, again, we go back to that little thing on the front of your DVD. This is for private use only. I'm not charging you admission, and I don't know what you're doing in the room. And it's none of my business. The trick is I can't open it to the public at that point. It is a private event. When con show episodes, e.g. room in the thing, is that a legal gray area? So it depends on the convention.
They probably talked with Crunchyroll or whoever to get their blessing.
And again, if you're going to CRCon,
it's advertising. Yeah.
Crunchyroll does it at their own con. Also, non-profits like SoccerCon. So you got to remember, like, SoccerCon is not a for-profit company. The people who run SoccerCon, it's a 501c5. It's a cultural exchange organization, right? So they fall under a different thing because it's not licensing for profit. Yes, I am not a lawyer, okay? I have lawyers, right? I specifically have had IP lawyers for the work we did with Identico.
I'm a lawyer, but it's only bird law, so I
am not giving you legal advice. I'm telling you what has been told to us over the years of licensing.
You asked a question, and
we're way down the road now.
We're always going to give you as much as we can.
So I wish streamers had commercial tiers.
Yeah.
I wish they did. They don't, as of right now.
A suggestion that I would make for streaming and keeping it within budget, because, you know, scope creep, budget creep. Pick a service, like Taylor pays for Netflix for us, and then I pay for whatever other streaming services, because Netflix has plenty of stuff. I usually pick, for a while it was a service, but now I'm like, okay, whatever amount of services under $20 is what falls under my umbrella, and she pays for Netflix. And that keeps our total streaming budget under $40 a month.
Which is reasonable.
Highly recommend. Yeah. Also, may I?
Yeah.
A little... All right, I'm not recommending doing this. There are some sites and apps where you can sail the seas, and I have found that some of them make it far easier to watch media than on the official media app, and/or there are just things that they will not post on the media app that get posted to the Sail the Seas apps. Mm-hmm. And we're come full circle now where things are expensive again, and piracy has once again made it more accessible for people and easier to use. Functionally, boop, boop.
Well, and the quality of the piracy is a lot better.
Yes, and no ads.
And we're not going to get into the specifics of that, but I could set up at least a 720, if not 1080p HD rip of something in about 5 minutes. It's not hard to do.
I could watch The Mandalorian in 4K HDR.
I'm saying I can
Hours
do the
after.
rip. Like, it's not hard to do.
Yeah, it's not hard to do. But you can, if you don't want to pay for Disney Plus, you can straight up just be like HDR 4K, boom, go.
All right. That's where we're going to end that topic today. We'll move on to our next one. Low quality of piracy. You're on the fringe, Alex. Anyway, real quick, original D&D white box, but charging $1,000. I looked, I Googled while we were doing the show. I don't see anything. I can't find anything. They were going to re-release the white box back in 2013, and I think they did. I think it just kind of went under, I think it kind of went under the radar. I don't think Wizards would do it.
I am probably the least D&D educated here. What's the white box?
So the white box was one of the original box sets that they did that had all of the basic like folio style stuff.
Okay.
For playing original D&D, OD&D, old school.
Yeah.
And they did do a white box re-release in 2013. It was $149.99. It had a bunch of stuff in it.
Okay.
This was 2013.
So do we think that maybe somebody has listed the 2013 white box for $1,000 on the secondary market? Is that what's going on, or?
No, I think that there's a rumor that they would do it. 2013 Wizards might have done it. I don't think 2023 Wizards, with the current leadership that's in place, would do it.
But hey.
And the difference between this and the Magic 30th,
okay,
is Magic 30th was
you couldn't use. Oh wait.
Well, no, Magic 30th was Wizards. It's their property. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's them. They created it. It's their thing. They like it. Wizards didn't create original D&D. TSR did. Right? And while they own TSR, and again, I'm not talking about this from an IP perspective or are they allowed to do it. I'm saying it from the, do I think they would?
Because I guess technically they would be celebrating like TSR and TSR's creation. Huh. Okay.
Yeah. That's my opinion. Right? Do I think they would do it? No, I don't.
Well,
I think that they're trying to get us far away from that legacy.
That would involve publishing physical goods, which right
and you
now,
can get PDFs of all the stuff.
Yeah.
And again, even if you were to do like a collector's edition that was really expensive and really nice, like I think the market for it is very limited. And I don't think that the current leadership of Wizards would want to do it.
I think as far as D&D players, if they're going to spend $1,000, they're probably going to go and hunt down like the original stuff. Like they want that collector's item.
Yeah. And I have some original D&D stuff. I brought it in the stores here. In fact, I got a study for tonight. Yeah, it's highly sought after in the collector's market. But do I see Wizards re-releasing an original D&D white box? Nope. Nope, I don't. All right. Chat topics. What the F even is Magic right now? Everything's overpriced and even the casual formats are becoming more expensive.
It's quite the year, isn't it?
It is. So it's specifically these two summer sets, right? Lord of the Rings and Commander Masters, right? The pricing I've seen on Wilds of Eldraine seems to be going back to kind of the mean as to what they normally charge for stuff.
It is a more typical set than Lord of the Rings and Commander Masters. Was the Commander release last year?
Yes.
Was it pricey as well?
Dominaria Remastered? Yeah,
No.
was the last one.
Oh, was that? Okay.
And there was Double Masters last year, and
That's
it
what I'm
was
talking
really expensive.
That's what I'm talking about. So
Yep.
whatever Masters, those are the more expensive sets. So
Yep.
last year's was okay. So the normal now is for every year, it seems like there is going to be a more expensive Masters set.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And Commander Masters is no exception. Commander Masters is exceedingly expensive. Phil and I were talking about it last night, and there's some decisions that we're going to make about Commander Masters this week. We'll make those announcements later this week.
Yep.
Yeah, all the reprint sets tend to be double the price of regular sets, and this one's actually more than double. A set booster box is going to set you back $450 here, $435. I mean retail. Draft will be a little bit cheaper, but again, it will have the same level of common, uncommon, mythic, rare as a normal draft box. So
okay.
again, if you're looking for it for reprint and stuff like that, now I want to address this, and I'm not recording this. I don't think we'll turn this into a thing. But
okay.
when people go, everything's overpriced. Is it?
In what perspective?
And that's my
From
thing.
whose
Is like,
perspective?
exactly. And so my thing is this. You can play Pauper, right, in Magic.
Mm-hmm.
You can just gradually supplement. Now, are you going to be staying ahead of the meta and having the most competitive commander decks and all that stuff if you're not buying fairly frequently? No, you're not. No, you're not. But if you're a kitchen table player and you're just playing with friends and stuff like that, it's like any other hobby. Any other hobby that you really dive into, no matter what that hobby is, tends to start getting pricey. Whether you're a rock climber or a golfer or...
Once you reach intermediate level,
Yeah.
it gets pricey, yeah.
Um,
Huh. I mean, is this a way of... Oh, God. Maybe I shouldn't even ask this question.
Are we buying any Commander Masters for the store? Reservable. I'll be making announcements on that later this week.
Is this their way of kind of setting back the singles market? Which we had a discussion with Magic Taylor last week. The singles market that they claim that they don't like, but then they use to their advantage to push sets as well.
Like this. This is specifically is one that's the reason. Again, it's a weird symbiotic relationship. My contention with Magic in the singles market is Magic wants a Ticketmaster approach, right? And to explain what I mean to that to the audience is this. When you go buy a concert ticket from Ticketmaster, right,
Yeah.
you pay Ticketmaster's service fee, right? Then when it gets sold on the secondary market, likely through StubHub, which is owned by Ticketmaster,
No.
right?
Yeah.
Ticketmaster then assesses a new service fee on top of that. So they've double dipped it, right?
Agreed, Necroteer.
But what Magic is unable to do with the singles market is assess any of that cash. TCG Player got bought out by a company that's not going to sell it to Hasbro,
Yeah.
right? eBay is the overall owner of all that stuff now. They can't touch the game shops, right? And so, and Wizards again went down the road of trying to open their own game shops, right? And for those that don't remember, there used to be Wizards of the Coast stores, much like there is Warhammer stores.
Yeah.
They were around for a few years, and then Wizards went, oh, this is bad, right? Because here's the secret, and Wizards knew this, retail's really expensive to run,
Yeah.
okay? It is really expensive, and unless you are churning fucking cash through there, it's just not, it's not profitable.
One of our semi-regulars, that's how I found out about the Wizard store, is they said it was set up kind of like the Disney stores. Like they tried to like make it to that level, and it just didn't.
From an ambiance perspective, the one that I remember going to right after it opened, and I remember being really excited when it opened, and I was probably, God, what year was that?
These guys were their mid-20s, late 20s.
And my understanding is there is still one left. It's inside of Wizards of the Coast headquarters.
Well,
in Renton.
So it's a gift shop. If you're taking a tour, it's a gift shop.
Yes, there is one. The old Wizards of the Coast game stores, they were the one that I went to had very much a fantasy vibe to it. right?
Makes
So
sense.
like it felt like a tavern in a D&D world,
Yeah.
right? Like that was what it was.
Yeah.
They had play tables, they had a lot of stuff. Yeah, so I was 15. Um,
Dang, yo.
they opened 5 of them in the Seattle area, and then they stopped.
I'm sure
There
it was
was-
very magical.
There was 5 in the Seattle area, 6, 7 eventually, and then they got into Minnesota, California, Michigan, California, and then they stopped. But yeah, the one that was at the mall that was near Phil and I's house where we grew up opened in October of 1998.
Oh, wow.
Um,
According to Dog Dad, you couldn't like actually play there. You just bought stuff and left.
the one that I went to had a few play tables in the back. And there was still stuff with RPGA and Living City going on at that time.
Yeah.
And so they were trying to organize Living City events at the store.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know how in a mall they'll have that big open area right outside?
Yeah.
They would rope off areas for special events and have
Okay.
tables there and stuff like that.
I'm just imagining like
Again, retail's really expensive.
this social game. It's a social game. Buy stuff. Go social elsewhere. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Whew.
Uh,
But yeah, what is Magic right now? And Ryan makes a good point in the chat. Just because a card's cheap doesn't mean it's bad. I've seen some jank turned into a lethal deck. Yeah,
yeah, and I mean, that's
weird. And Magic.
that's the whole point of Pauper.
Magic Taylor covered this last week too. He said he likes reprints because it makes a card more accessible that would otherwise be quite expensive, $18, and you can now get it for $3. Or, let me go find the common version of this card that's essentially has the same print on it, same text. So, yeah, no, you don't always need the $25 card.
Overpriced is a very relative term. I do think that these, for cardboard and for what they are, I do think these reprint sets are above the pale. Again, we kind of went over this. I went over this with one of our customers the other day. Because of how much Wizards charges the distributor, how much they pay the distributors and da-da-da-da-da and everything else, Wizards is probably, if I was going to guess between manufacturing cost and what they sell it to the distributors for, I would guess Wizards is probably making $25 to $30 a box on a full set booster box. That's what their cut is, once you account for the cost of manufacturing.
Yeah.
That would be my guess based on where everybody's margins are. The biggest thing that Wizards did that completely jacked the market up was get rid of MSRP. That's the other issue.
Yeah. Well, also, here's the WTF is Magic and prices. This set, if you want to talk about, it's hard to get people into Warhammer because of sticker shock. Hey, new player, this is the current set. What?
Well, and again, when I look at it and I go, most of the time, a non-premium commander deck is around $45 or $50.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go look at a board game. And I go, it's about $45, $50, except for Bloodborne and a couple others, right? $50 is kind of the barrier of entry for pretty much every hobby now.
Which, okay, it is a hobby of luxury, but here's the thing, I guess, thinking about board games and to a lesser extent Warhammer, you've bought it, right? You're $50 to $100 in. That's yours. That's how you play that for at least a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You buy this set of Magic, and then it's like in 2 months, that's not the current set anymore. Buy more. I don't know. Not trying to trash on it, but it goes back to is Warhammer more expensive than Magic?
No. Not to stay current. No. Again, if you're talking about that intermediate level, right, not initial purchase. Initial purchase, you can get into Magic for $50 because you can buy a commander deck for $50, right? Warhammer, I would say your first purchase is probably $150.
Or to run an army, yeah.
Combat Patrol box.
Or Commander, if you want to keep it under a certain price. Not bad.
Right.
Or not Commander, Kill Team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. It costs them less in R&D and art costs, but they charge way more for it. That's true. So I would say that the initial barrier to entry on Warhammer is higher, but once you reach that intermediate level we've kind of been talking about, where you want to kind of keep up with it as a hobby, it's actually cheaper than Magic, for sure.
Or if you're an art and figurine and paint goblin like myself, it just keeps building.
I don't need to spend $170 to $200 every other month to keep up with a Warhammer meta like I do with Magic, for sure. Like that's just, you know. The painting phase episode was the former GW months were 2018.
Oh, GW?
Trash came out. I'm not familiar with that. I would have to go look.
What? That's crazy.
I would have to go look. Folks, you'd be surprised how freaking close to the wire a lot of these companies will run their stuff.
It's nuts,
okay?
dude.
And big, small, everybody in between.
It's so crazy.
It's bonkers. How close you run to the edge. Trust me. Okay. To hit another question from the chat, and again, we got about 30 minutes left, so if you guys got any questions in the chat, right, anything you saw over the weekend, anything you saw last night, we're like, hey, talk about this. Real quick, we will touch on this. Yes, the Teamsters released a statement. Apparently they got a new contract done. Apparently it's historic increases across the board. The Teamsters are very, very happy. They said they made almost no concessions to UPS.
Right on.
I had a chance to kind of go through it, but I'm not going to bore everybody with the like nitty gritty. But yes, it's some considerable wage increases. It's changing some of their two-tiered hiring systems that UPS has been doing for a long time. It's ensuring proper days off. It's ensuring certain things for UPS workers. So the Teamsters, again, appear very happy, and it looks like we avoided what could have been a catastrophic strike. Like, if UPS would have gone on strike, the effects across America are this. Yes, every truck they buy from January 1st, 2024 will have air conditioning. That's actually is one of the things.
Did you want me to give a little blurb about my experience?
Yeah, go. You worked there.
Yeah, so I worked there it was right after the market crash, actually. It's the reason that I moved to Louisville, was because UPS was one of the only places hiring after the market crash. Union job, cool. They'll pay for school if you load planes for them overnight. So I worked there for 2 or 3 years, loading planes for your overnight packages. Mm-hmm. And talk about like razor's edge down to the wire. The fact that your package makes it there overnight is incredible, and the amount of manpower and machinery and organization is nuts. They paid well, good benefits and everything like that, but it was fairly comfortable. I mean, you got to work pretty hard. It was always known, though, that the drivers were probably the happiest UPS employees. Like, most people, if they were going to stick around, were like, I'm going to go be a driver, because, like, my buddy's a driver, and he's like, this is awesome. The fact that it got to the point where the drivers were like, oh, hell no, says a lot. But yeah, I don't think anybody who works at UPS loading overnight planes in Louisville is watching, but hey, thank you. Keep up the good work. So
yeah, so congratulations to the Teamsters and the UPS union for getting some good concessions out of things. I think UPS was both worried about the PR battle, and I think they were like, look, we're going to lose so much stinking money.
If UPS...
They don't want FedEx and Amazon to sweep in here with their logistics side and do this. Like, UPS...
I can tell you.
They know what a strong linchpin of the logistics industry in this country they are, and they don't want to lose that.
I can tell you from experience, they don't want to give an inch to FedEx. The Pepsi versus Coke is real amongst those two. It's, yes. Yeah.
So again, throw us your stuff in the chat. We see you guys in there. You guys have been a good chat today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, chat.
For hanging out with all of us. Okay, how can streamers watch vids on stream without breaking piracy laws? So this actually goes back a few months, maybe a year now, and I know it was like kind of a COVID / early out of COVID meme that was happening on Twitch was the React videos, right? React videos. And everybody from Hassan Abi to Pokimane to everybody. And it was blowing up on Twitch for a minute. Most of those people started getting cease and desist letters.
YouTube pretty quickly was like, nah.
So here's the thing. The way that they were getting away with it is there's fair use and copyright, right? Which means when you are doing it transformatively, right, then you can use copyrighted material for transformative work, right? Which is how you get like YouTubers. Thank you for the bits, Necron. We appreciate it. Which is how you get YouTubers who do like talk about X show or X series, and they're able to cut in clips.
Yep.
Right? That is not a violation of the DMCA. It is not a violation of copyright law. In spite of the fact that sometimes production companies will come after them about it, they usually end up losing those fights in the end. But they're just annoying to the YouTubers.
Yeah.
To kind of most YouTubers I know who are like mid to top tier are very careful about how they do it.
It's a big deal. Yeah.
So when the React memes started happening on Twitch, it was going for a while, right? And the problem was there was ones that were legit like React ones, right? Where they were just doing clips. They weren't doing whole episodes.
Yeah.
They were doing pieces, and then they were giving strong commentary on it. What ended up happening is you saw these ones blowing up this style of video, and everybody follows the meta on Twitch. Like following the meta in Magic and Warhammer, everybody follows the meta. And Pete's smiling because he knows it's like a thing.
Yep.
So what ended up happening was, and actually specifically the areas that I saw that it got really bad, was the anime ones, right? Because what you would have is you would have these anime react streams where they were watching the latest episode of X anime, right? And then they'd be like, the reaction would be, oh, yeah? And that was the extent of the, like, transformative. And a couple of them tried to play it off like, but my face and my reactions to the thing, and they're like, yeah, no.
So apparently, you know how XQC got his big $100 million deal with Kick? And Kick is like, you do whatever you want. Within a week or 2 weeks, he just started watching shows on Kick, and Kick had to be like, hey, man, come on. Like, are you serious? Which is funny because they're like, whatever you want to do. And then he's like, I'm actively going to violate copyright law. And they're like, not that, though.
Not that, though.
Yeah, so here's, again, clips, reviewing stuff. It's perfectly fine. Like, give your take, have a conversation with your audience. But it's similar to companies of just trying to continue to push to the edge. It got to the point where it was overdone, overextended. And you have like Pokemon and people watching full movies that Amazon has some movies that you can watch with your audience. Like they've negotiated those terms, or it's a Creative Commons or whatever it is, whatever movie. But they pushed it to the point now where now you're gonna have legislation potentially or saying that you just tightening up on what creative use or fair use is, which makes it more difficult. So, hey, I'm sorry you couldn't think of anything to stream on a Thursday that week, but you potentially fucked the whole thing up for hundreds of millions of creators. Thank you. That's my thought on that.
Yep. So that's why you've seen that kind of go down. Like that meta has left Twitch for the most part. Is the streamers just watching videos and sitting there? If you go all the way back, so Mystery Science Theater 3000, and then their successor Rift Tracks, they've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
Right? And after they didn't have kind of the backing of the Sci-Fi Channel when they started Rift Tracks, what they ended up doing was they would record audio tracks so that you could watch the DVD on your computer, and they'd be like, start the audio track at this spot and play it simultaneously.
Brilliant solution.
Right? So they could get around it. Now, eventually, they got big enough where they were able to start negotiating with the studios again and being like, come on, you know it's funny. Yeah. Let us do this, and we'll cut you a fucking check per download, right? They also did a lot of stuff that was really funny in the Creative Commons with, like, old, like, educational videos, right, from, like, the 50s and stuff, and some of their stuff is great. If you haven't watched the Rift Track stuff with their old educational videos, they are hilarious.
They're great, and I think they're a shining example of if you're going to watch an entire film and make it transformative.
That's what MST3K did, which is why, again, when the whole watch thing started happening, it's like, this has been done, right?
And better.
And done well, right?
In a time when that was very difficult to do.
Right. Those guys started on like a public access channel in Minnesota, right, doing this, and then eventually ended up on Sci-Fi, and they got their movie and all their stuff, and then it died, and then they brought it back. So good for them.
Yeah.
All right. Thoughts on TikTok starting their own Twitter, X, and announcing it on Threads.
I missed that last part.
Oh my God. So here's the thing, and also Threads is making some changes. We talked a bit about this yesterday with, they're starting a new text-only thingy. So, X, for those that missed the show yesterday, Twitter is rebranding as X, powered by AI. And there's going to be like some sort of financial element to it, like a bank. Elon's lost his bonk.
Just desperately trying to get up to some sort of break-even or profitability.
Something. And
Whatever
I have
it means.
no idea. I have no idea what Elon's thinking on this. Obviously, with the changes to Twitter /X / I'm just going to keep calling it Twitter. Fuck you, Elon.
It's Twitter.
With the changes to Twitter lately, a lot of people have been looking for the other platform. And actually, there's a piece of this I want to touch on in a minute. Everybody's jumping into the realm, right? Obviously, people saw this coming, so you had stuff like Blue Sky. There's Martin. He's waving hi to everybody.
Martin's hand.
You had stuff like Blue Sky, Mastodon. We've talked about this again. Go back and watch our YouTube channel. We've touched on this one a lot because it's relevant to our interests.
Twatter.
So Meta rushed out Threads, right, in kind of a half-baked state, and everybody kind of jumped on there really fast. And now TikTok is doing a text-only posting version, right, where you'll be able to do text-only stuff.
Just going to gather up your data here in this bag and then gather it in a different bag.
Creating a text post. When you access the camera page, it's just text post on TikTok, and it's just going to go in your For You page.
Well,
here's the thing.
If anyone's going to have a better For You algorithm than any other company, TikTok's probably going to have more tweets that I want to see.
I'm actually going to start recording. TikTok doing a text-only style post, and I'm looking at the TikTok page. Right, and I'm gonna swing it over to your side, Pete, so you can see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Right. That actually looks really good.
I don't like it.
I do.
It looks like those Facebook text with a gradient updates that people do, but with the TikTok.
But with adding, you can add stickers, hashtags, background color, sound.
Yeah. Okay.
You could see people get really, really creative with this. And again, if it's just floating through your For You page,
okay,
right?
All right, I can see it. Is it going to be in the TikTok app, or
Yep.
are they launching? Okay, well, fine.
You can now post text on TikTok, so it's all in the TikTok app.
That might actually be a break from the onslaught of various sounds whenever
and videos and stuff like
sliding
that.
through, or just trying to hit the back button to close the app.
Yep.
Like my boomerang.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah, okay. If it's in the same app and they're not launching something else, sure.
No, I think it looks like it's literally you're just going to go through and then you'll hit a text post where somebody wants to put up text. Cool. And the way that it looks, again, it looks really nice. That might work.
Sure. Yeah.
That legit, and with their user base,
it's. No, I'm not trying to be harsh here. Like it literally is it's Snapchat. It's kind of like bringing Snapchat text editing into your feed, which is fine. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. If it's the same app and it gives me a break from various sounds and whatever, sure. All right, I'll give it to you. Good job, TikTok.
Seems
like a good idea.
Again, I see a lot of people. See, this is the first time where. Like, I've seen a lot of people threatening to leave Twitter for a really long time. A really long time. This is the first time where I'm starting to see people really move, right? And this is the piece that I want to touch on, right? I've seen a lot of people who are really upset because, again, there's been a lot of people who've been like, I'm going to leave Twitter, but not doing it. And there's been a lot of people being like, dude, I've spent years, especially in the tabletop space, right? TTRPG, that's Twitter all the freaking way.
It's a slow grind.
Right? And there's people who've built big platforms on Twitter.
Yep.
And their entire Kickstarter, like our Kickstarter, like a lot of that comes from Twitter. Twitter is the space for this right now. And so there's a lot of people who are like, I have to start from zero or close to it, right? Because anytime you move to a new platform, you're back at zero.
Yeah.
For at least a little bit, right? And even if you've got 100,000 followers on platform A, and you go, hey guys, I gotta go, join me on platform B, we've seen this, right? We could not get 10% of our Discord users to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
It's
like legit.
They're comfortable there, and they're like, yeah, okay.
Right? Yeah. So I feel bad. I feel really bad for the people and the things that have built careers on this, right? Especially, again, like in the tabletop space. There's a lot of creators out there, a lot of cosplayers, a lot of just news people who've built their entire careers around this platform.
And I mean, if you want me to take it a step further, I'll do my finger waggle. Elon, you dummy, your stupid hubris ass, and your dumb overnight decisions and whatever at 4 a.m. and all this stuff that you want to accomplish. Thanks. You just kind of wrecked a lot of careers with these dumb decisions and whatever you insist is important. Years down the toilet for a lot of people. Just because you just can't help yourself.
So much hype stuff. Like, again, video games that we would find out about on Twitter, right? Heck, the funny meme wars between Wendy's and Burger King.
Twitter memes, man.
Right? Twitter memes. Like, there was so much good stuff. And for all the talk about doom scrolling and everything else, in the gaming, the geek, the nerd, like all these spaces, there's been so much built into this platform that was so good for those things. And again, you could build a tabletop RPG following on Twitter.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, there's so many big, like, news breaking segments, too. Like, some big news has broken on Twitter. There is a significant part of internet history that originates and lives on Twitter.
And
it's a big segment, and...
yeah.
Thanks.
So, it's... Again, we've kind of gone back and forth about this. Meta with threads, TikTok with this thingy. I tell you what, it's going to be a tight fight here for a minute. I still really like the idea of threads. To answer somebody in chat, they're adding just a following tab. So threads is finally fixing that, because when you first downloaded threads, it was just kind of AI generated, like algorithmically, like feeding you stuff.
Yeah.
Now they're adding I just want to see the people I'm following.
Yeah.
Like function, just like Twitter. The funny thing, actually, I'm going to touch on one more funny thing about this. This is hilarious I'm quoting some news articles that I've been reading. So he's renamed it to X, right?
Yeah.
The funny thing is he can't.
Oh, yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So there are two companies that have trademarked the term X for different functions. Microsoft has a trademark on X as a platform because of, Xbox.
Yeah.
Okay, Xbox. The other person that has it trademarked is Meta, for the sole purposes of social media and financial use.
So roll back that splash screen, buddy.
So the question right now is whether he can even use the term X for his platform.
So there's another element to this, and I wonder.
Which is hilarious.
Michael from Identico pointed out in the Identico Discord yesterday that the logo looks like the old, like early 2000s XL logo. It's the same X.
It's very similar.
Yes. It's just not green.
Also, Ubisoft did a thing on their Twitter where they were like, "Have you seen the new Ubisoft logo?" And it's just that it's a U in that same Unicode style, and I was like, "Oh my god." Yeah.
No Tomodachi.
No, I'm not going to Google X right now. I already know what happens when I do that. All right.
And then to extension of that, yeah, text segue isn't new. It's happened before.
Right now,
MySpace, Facebook. It's just weird to see it overnight, not because a company can adapt, but because just purely stupid decisions by somebody with no guardrails.
Yes.
And I'm sure it's happened before, but like this is the most blatant that I've seen it.
I can't, chat, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I cannot think of a time that somebody managed to tank a successful company this fast.
I don't know. Like this has the energy of the owner, CEO of a company dying and passing it on via their will to their son, who is a coke addict and crashes their Lambo into a pole and kills 3 pregnant women in one go and gets locked up and just spends all the money that was in the R&D department and the bills payable department.
So somebody in the chat said, I do MySpace. I don't think MySpace's downfall was because there was a single point of failure at the top who was just making goofball decisions. MySpace I largely put to...
that felt like a competition thing.
That felt like a Facebook thing.
And an inability to adapt.
Yes.
Granted, this has been a while ago and I was fairly young. So at that point, it was just not the cool place to be anymore.
Yes. I mean,
for me.
Yeah, I mean, most of and that's why I left MySpace even before they crashed it, was it just wasn't interesting.
Thank you,
it's not re-exist, so it's actually, again, the funny thing is it's Zeet in English, but the funny thing is an X at the first part of a word in Spanish is sheet. So you won't tweet, you will sheet.
Go to sleep, Elon. Get some effing rest, dude. I know you're like, I can 3 hours a night and that's all I need. No, you need 8 right now. Go sleep.
Somebody said, what about Vine? Vine's biggest issue was that they understood what TikTok eventually figured out. Their issue was it was too short, right?
That is really 6 seconds, right?
It was 6 seconds.
That is really short.
And that's the thing. And there was some really cool creative stuff that came out of Vine.
Yeah.
But it was too short. TikTok's idea of the like 15, 30, 1 minute, 3 minute, like that really is how they figured it out.
Well, with Vine, if I may, about editing and stuff like that and comedic timing and all this stuff, with Vine, with 6 seconds, there's only a few different formats of a joke or whatever that work. And we had a friend who was super into Vine, and it was this constant cycle of her flipping through Vines. It's set up, set up, set up, set up, loud noise. Isn't this funny because it's loud suddenly? And that's 90% of Vine.
Whereas,
with TikTok, there's a little more.
You can be a lot more broad in the style of content that pops up on TikTok than you can something like Vine. Vine, in my opinion, was ahead of its time. They just didn't figure out what TikTok did. So, take that for what it's worth.
Ooh.
Okay, where should I watch the Super Show? I guess I don't really understand the question.
For our greatest benefit. Like, what benefits the most? What platform, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, asking for our benefit, what benefits the most? Which platform are you viewing it on?
For live, Twitch. If you're watching it later, I would say YouTube. Even the YouTube, like watching the live stream, like if you missed the live stream one day, because we make them go live on YouTube basically same day.
Watching it live, I'm going to say YouTube. I'm actually going to disagree. Because watch hours, it's watch time.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Watch time, YouTube, Twitch, their discoverability doesn't super matter as far as viewers. Like, it's a little bit. But with YouTube, once you break like a certain barrier, it really gets pushed up there. YouTube is like, this is valuable. Watch it.
Yeah.
Wherever you're comfortable.
Tumblr banning certain types of media crashing. Oh, that it absolutely did.
Wherever you're most comfortable. The MySpace guy's rich now and no stress, I think. Yeah, good job, Tom.
Yeah.
Thanks for being my first friend.
Yep. Thank you, Necron, for some stuff. All right, we got about 5 minutes left. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about today? We're going to do some special topics tomorrow for Wednesday. We're going to talk one of Pete's favorite topics. We're going to talk about UFOs. You guys aren't even ready.
You guys aren't ready. I'm going to have to actually...
Oh, Mortal Kombat 1. MK1. No, I did see that. Hang on, let me grab that.
It's up there a minute. We start talking about Twitter.
With the new promo and the remove of Omni-Man and Homelander, where does the monolith go from here? Mortal Kombat reminds me of Fortnite. That's what I mean.
Very violent Fortnite.
They're adding Homelander and stuff like that. Hang on, let me pull this stuff. So, yeah.
It's the new promotional one?
Yeah. I'm going to pull this up really quick. 6 DLC characters. Ermac, DC's Peacemaker.
Peacemaker?
Yeah, Peacemaker,
Sweet.
like the show.
Yeah.
Invincible's Omni-Man.
Yeah.
Quan Chi, Takeda, and finally, Homelander from The Boys will appear.
Someone in my Discord made a good point, like, wasn't the next season of The Boys, like, indefinitely delayed?
Yes, because of the strikes, I think.
Yeah.
So there you go, Pete.
Okay, so not just any Homelander, like John Cena Homelander.
Yeah. John Cena Peacemaker.
Peacemaker,
Yep.
sorry. Man, that guy's made so much money.
Yeah.
Cool.
Where does it go from here? I think my guess is because they're adding this stuff, they're Fortnite. Like, it's like, what's the latest Fortnite crossover, right? They've done ones with Star Wars and da-da-da-da-da.
Futurama's the most recent one.
And Futurama's coming out. I mean, here's the thing. There's 2 things that make a fighter, right? One is gameplay. How strong is the gameplay? Because if it's not strong, it's not good. And a lot of that comes down to their organized play stuff, like their competitive scenes. The other thing is gimmick. You know?
Yeah.
It's gimmick.
Well, I don't imagine they're doing an Injustice 3, right? So they're just going to DC characters in Mortal Kombat. I mean, they've kind of always done
I'm sure
that.
Warner Bros. Is getting a check.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah. I mean...
have Daenerys calling a dragon as a fatality. Homelander's crank Superman with mommy issues. That's true.
Add Finn and Jake from Adventure Time in there.
Yeah, I mean, Mortal Kombat is Fortnite in my opinion. That's really, really what it is.
This is the Fortnite of fighting games?
Yeah, it's, hey, look, you can do this.
And I mean, that's no shade. What Fortnite has managed to do from what it originally was to turn that around, that's incredible. Like, for those of you who don't know, it was originally a base building game with your friends. The Battle Royale system was added in after you purchased the game. The Battle Royale system was added in 6 months to a year after the game came out as a, like, hey, thanks for supporting us for free. And then eventually it shifted and they just took away the base game.
I think that most players don't care about the Mortal Kombat story arc. To answer that question, I honestly don't think
Martin
they do.
does.
James Gunn said will return for more if they kick after the new DCE. Yes. But you got to remember, they're also building their Elseworlds banner for DC. So I imagine Peacemaker is going to get lumped in with the Elseworlds banners for DC going forward.
Man, Peacemaker.
Liu Kang is now the controller of the multiverse. Yes.
Apparently there's like some deep lore in Mortal Kombat.
There is some deep lore in Mortal Kombat. Again, like, it's been a long time since I played Mortal Kombat. I played a little bit of the most recent one, and it's fine. It's Mortal Kombat. It's not my cup of tea.
I just assume it's this is how uneducated I am. My assumption when there's a new Mortal Kombat, I'm like, okay, so we're in a new generation of consoles.
Yep.
That's kind of my flag of like, oh, we're knee deep in the current generation of consoles. Then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
fine.
kind of like a new Madden. I'm not heralding it as, oh, Madden's here. I'm just like, it makes sense. New Madden.
I used to love Madden. I'm waiting for them to do something decent with Madden eventually. Really kind of frustrates me.
Oh, I guess they've stopped. Yeah, it's 2K.
Not according to Part of World. I haven't seen that comment that he's sucking Peacemaker into the new DCU because Peacemaker was definitively connected to the old DCEU, but the end of Flash kind of muddies the water, and right now Gunn's just straight up not talking because he can't.
Peacemaker, and there's a few Peacemaker's one of them. There's a few of them that you need to just claw machine and be like, you still go here because you were good and successful.
Mortal Kombat brings Mortal Kombat, Marvel, and DC in the next one.
I don't think Marvel wants to share that spotlight.
I don't think Disney and Warner Brothers are going to play that nicely with each other. I highly doubt it.
I don't know if Disney would be down with the level of violence in Mortal Kombat either.
Nope. I want to play Deadpool with Ryan Reynolds as a voice actor. Deadpool would make a good Mortal Kombat interview.
Yeah, he would.
Or Mortal Kombat character. Deadpool would be great for that. When are we getting the Madden 2K Cinematic Universe? Hey, look, we got a Gran Turismo movie. Okay.
The biopic of John Madden. And then it begins.
I'm kind of surprised they haven't done one. I don't know enough about his life to know whether to make a good biopic. I know there's some documentaries about him.
I suspect
obviously a 30 for 30.
Yeah, 30 for 30. But as far as like a biopic, I would imagine there's probably like licensing rights or like estate rights and family stuff.
Oh,
that they're like, no, just leave my dad, grandpa out of this, please.
Yeah. Again, and I'm waiting for another good Madden game. They haven't been good in years. They really haven't made a good Madden game in years.
What happened? Did they just slip with the year?
They have no incentive.
Yeah, fair.
They have no incentive to make it better. There's going to be brand new college freshmen and brand new Army privates who are grabbing a console at the age of 19 and picking up Madden and Call of Duty.
What's the difference between 200 million and 190 million?
Yeah, it's like the problem is that their primary demo is people who weren't buying it year to year to year to year, and then again they're getting a new cycle of customers every single year who are buying that game. That's the deal.
Yep.
So
the Madden curse.
The Madden curse. I think they finally broke it.
Is that the one where whoever's on the cover won't win the Super Bowl?
Well, it's just whoever was on the cover. That team's having a horrible season.
That's actually I think that's an EA curse.
I think Mahomes finally broke that.
It started happening with the UFC games. I know it happened with the
all right
2K, the WWE.
Last
2K
one, because Hollywood won't make original ideas. What IPs do you want to be a cinematic universe? Obviously, I'm going to say Identico, but beyond that, that's tough.
I have one, but it won't happen.
What's that?
You'd have to erase a couple of films. Donnie Darko. It's primed. Like,
for a full cinematic universe?
Not a full cinematic universe, but like...
I would love to see a Donnie Darko remake.
I would say in the vein of how Cloverfield has become a thing.
Oh, yeah.
3 or 4 films.
Yeah.
Linked together loosely.
Yeah. Donnie Darko would be interesting to see that way. That's actually really...
Another one.
That's a really good question. That's a really interesting question.
I thought of one the other day, and I can't remember now. Dang it.
Tom Clancy would be cool with Rainbow Six and Ghost Recon. So here's the thing. You'd have to rewrite it, and I was hoping that was where they were going with the new Jack Ryan series.
Ooh.
Because nobody has gone full-on Clancyverse before.
Yeah.
Like, you would have to update it. There would have to be some significant changes. And you would be talking to an actor and being like, guess what? You're going to play Jack Ryan for 20 years.
Bro.
Because you have to.
I like both Sir Yub-Nub and Dog Dads. Big Trouble, I don't think that'll happen, but I would like to see it with like some quality, small, like budget films.
Yep.
And Overwatch is, that would be, That's right. Highlander. That's a golden well.
In fact, I think they're remaking Highlander.
They are
now.
remaking Highlander with Henry Cavill, I believe, and the producer of the John Wick movies.
Oh, that could be good.
Yeah, that's why Phil was upset that the remake was happening, and then I told him those two names. He was like,
Henry Cavill is out.
Oh. Dang it.
Hang
But I
on.
mean, that is an endless well. Highlander's an endless well.
Highlander could be an endless well. Maybe Chris Hemsworth. Maybe.
Gamers Heaven universe with Maid and Cowboy Andrew.
Nice. Yeah, Highlander's an interesting one. If I was gonna go to like books, here you go. Here's the cinematic universe I want to see him do. I was so fucking disappointed with the Foundation series.
Yeah.
Right? Robot and Foundation, and so basically what's considered Asimov's future history. That would be a great cinematic universe. And you could do that forever. There is so much material to draw from. Trigun wouldn't make a good cinematic universe. Trigun's a good self-contained story. Not everything needs to be a cinematic universe. But Asimov's stuff could be. Like, legit, it was written in a way that you could build in a entire cinematic universe out of Asimov's future history.
I mean, you could do it with Heinlein too. Really make sure, like, keep it.
It'd be,
Anthology. I'm thinking anthology.
yeah, you could probably do it with Heinlein's work too. There is enough in the future history to do it.
Yeah.
It would just, you would have to make some significant changes.
I also think Cowboy Bebop, because remember what we were talking about with the Bebop live action series?
Mm-hmm.
If it had been a different squad, I think people would have been like, oh, cool, this is just a different group of bounty hunters doing the thing. I think that could be.
That could be a good cinematic universe.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right, and with that, we're going to call it a day. We love you. We'll be back tomorrow at 11:30 Pacific. Have a great day, guys. Drink water. Come in and see us tonight. Yeah, come in and hang out. It's Tuesday. We got some D&D 2E. We got all kinds of stuff. Tomorrow's draft night. Thursday trivia. Come hang out with us. We will talk to you later.
Stay hydrated.